ब्रुश बकनल ब्रिटिश डेप्यूटी हाई कमिशनर ओडिशा गस्तर अच्छा भुवनेश्वर को आसी अवसर में आज आम भेटा जाऊँ एवं ब्रिटिश इनफॉरमेशन सेंटर रे आज आम भेटा और सहित किसी मन खोली कथा मिस्टर बकनल वेलकम टू शो
Thank you.
My first question to you, this is the first time you have been to Odisha and Bhubaneswar. What do you say about Bhubaneswar and Odisha?
I haven't seen too much of the city, but it looks very clean. There's space on the roads. It's very different from Calcutta, obviously. I'm looking forward to seeing all the sites, the temples and so on, and having meetings here today in Bhubaneswar.
Mr. Bknal, you are from the smartest city of the world itself. So,
yes. Well, not necessarily on every count.
Almost you are from
it
the
is
smartest
London,
city of the world.
London is a great city,
yeah,
yes.
Bhubaneswar is a smart city. How do you like the concept of smart city?
How do I like the concept? Well, I think the focus on cities is very important because, as we know, cities are the biggest generators of jobs in the modern economy, in the modern world that we live in. And particularly in India, there are a lot of people still living in rural areas, but as I saw when I went to UP, there are lots of mechanization in the countryside, and there needs to be jobs created for all the people, and I think those jobs are going to be in urban areas and in cities. If you're going to create jobs, you obviously need housing, you need people to be able to move around. So I think the idea of having places that are smart.
Do you like that concept of smart city?
Well, I'm not sure it's a case of liking it, it's the title, but I think
you support it.
I support the idea of having cities that are so constructed and so organised that they will be carbon friendly, as far as possible carbon neutral, that people will be able to live decent lives, will be able to work, and they'll be able to move around. Because of the numbers involved in India, I think it means all the technology we've got, be it digital, be it basic technology of managing waste, all of those need to be deployed properly so that people can live in a reasonable environment in a city.
Mr. Bknal, how do you rate Indian rule of law system, which has been adopted from UK Constitution? That means I mean to say from your Constitution.
Well, that's a very complicated issue. We don't have one.
Diplomats are always diplomats. So
diplomats are always diplomats. Our constitution is particularly complicated because there isn't one constitution. Our constitution is a collection of laws. It's a collection of.
My question is that how do you rate Indian rule of system?
Indian governance. This is the phrase of the moment. How do I rate it? It's a little early days for me. I've only been in the country over 2 months. To my mind, I think it is important that there is democracy.
Do you think that it is early to say?
Early to give an assessment. But it seems to me that when you have democracies, you have politicians, they have to answer to the needs or the demands of the people, and that is a good thing. How democracy works, obviously there are very different types of democracies. India does have what we call the first past the post system, which based on the British system, but I've been in UP and I've seen there that governments get voted out. There's been a change of government in Delhi in the union elections 2 years ago in 2014. So yes, democracy in that respect means that politicians have to show, they have to have an effect and be able to influence people, and that means delivering for them.
What challenges are you looking for in this position as a new Deputy High Commissioner? What challenges?
What challenge? I think the challenge for all of us now in Britain is to show that Britain is global. Obviously, the big decision that has been taken in Britain recently is all about leaving the European Union. That is what Brexit means. Our people have voted that they want us, the country, to leave the European Union, and that's what will happen. And my role, along with my colleagues in India, is to show that actually Britain does matter. Britain has always mattered in the world. We are an outward-looking country. We have strong ties with countries like India, and this is a great opportunity for us to develop those ties for mutual benefit.
What do you think? Do you think that you may be able to create a good relationship between India and Britain?
India and Britain.
Yeah.
Well, I think there already is a very good relationship.
To strengthen.
We will be able to develop cooperation in many areas. So, for example, in early November...
You want to do more in some areas? In which areas that will be?
In early November, we will be bringing the best... in early November, we will be bringing the best of British technology to the Tech Summit in partnership with the CII in Delhi, which is the 7th and 9th of November. And we will be inviting people from all over India to meet and see the best of cutting-edge technology. And after that, we will be running a series of events where we'll be continuing that collaboration. And we plan to hold an event here in Bhubaneswar in November, later November, which I think will bring the fruits of the Technology Summit, and we'll be able to show that this is the sorts of technologies that we can bring to India. The other area I would like to mention, because this is something again that Britain can have a good partnership with India, is that India needs investment and is working very hard to build infrastructure and so on. Recent weeks in London,
which sector?
I'm talking about investment in infrastructure. The need for capital is very clear, and in the last few weeks we have had at least 2 issues of what we call what are called in London are rupee bonds. So that is actually raising capital in London for use in India. And the interesting thing is that these are denominated in rupees, so there's no risk about change of exchange rate, and all the issues were oversubscribed. So in effect, what you have at the moment is there is great interest in investing in India in the capital markets. And that means now, through the issue of these bonds, that India has got more sources of capital that it can use to help finance the development in infrastructure and other areas.
Mr. Bucknell, how do you suggest reforms in India about higher education?
Higher education, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Higher education and education generally, every country worries that they've got the education system that they need. And I think the point about education now is with the rapid change in technology, the digitalization, the internet world that we live in, it's all the more important that people learn the skills. And this is a very important area that our education system has taken on board, so that when you have an education in Britain, it's not just the knowledge, it's also being able to apply that knowledge in the skills that you can learn while you are at an institution. As you know, recently Oxford University became, under one of the many league tables, became #1 university in the world. We have some of the most brilliant people in the brilliant universities. It's not just Oxford, it's not just Cambridge, there's a whole range of universities.
You have been to any big universities of India?
I have been to Calcutta University. I plan soon to visit others in advance of our Tech Summit in November.
How you will compare?
It's very difficult for me to say, because until I've been to one.
Now, what's the lacuna? What's the loopholes you find in?
Well, I think the problem is probably numbers. That there are so many people who are wanting to get an education in India. It's getting to be able to give a quality education to sufficient numbers of people. But I think it's a little bit early for me to judge. I'm very conscious there are some good universities here, and as part of our efforts to promote the
Do you
use
think that
of
we should focus on more quality education, India?
You need the right education, giving skills to teach everybody to be able to get a job. It's not simple because, for example, that technology changes so quickly. But obviously investment in skills, it's not simple.
Do you think that India is far behind from this?
I'm not an expert enough to say.
I'm
just very conscious there are some great institutions like the IITs, of which there's one in Bhubaneswar, that produce some first-class people scientists, researchers, and people developing technology. You have a fantastic flow of Indians around the world. We have some fantastic Indian academics in my country, in Britain. They go to America as well. So I think India, the issue isn't a lack of talent, it's a case of marshalling all the resources, putting the right investment for the right skills to help the Indian economy develop.
I would like to ask a different question. Being a diplomat, don't give an answer in a very diplomatic way. Give the straight answer. I want this because Indians are watching, and so many people are watching this show because the major concern is terrorism. And my question is that how do you look at the problem of terrorism? Because you have faced in UK. In India, you know that. What is the problem in terrorism?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, the most important thing to say is that there's no justification for terrorism.
Okay.
No justification for terrorism. Killing people innocently in a irrational way does not solve anything. Terrorism is a very complicated phenomenon, and it varies a lot from country to country. My country's had terrible terrorism related to Northern Ireland, and we've lived through some terrible events.
Why the entire world community is not coming?
Well, I think you have to be.
I want a straightforward answer.
Okay, I'll give you a straightforward answer. It's not simple, and to counter terrorism requires a lot of cooperation. But if I knew exactly what we were doing, and I told you now, if I told you now, I would actually be helping the terrorists, because if they know the measures that my country is taking.
But don't you think that is too late? Don't you think that it's too late? The world community should come forward and support India in this fight against terrorism.
I think the world community is supporting India on terrorism. We have very good collaboration with India, for example, on cybersecurity, which, as I said before, given the change that we have in technology. But not in words, but in action. But it is in action. That is the point. It is in action. Exchange of information, cybersecurity, working together to be able to track communication is so important. But the more I talk about it, the more I help the terrorists. Do you want me to help terrorists? Do you? I don't think you do.
Okay.
We want collaboration that helps us all collectively to counter terrorism. And as we've seen through the growth of Daesh, some of this terrorism it keeps changing. And how attacks are done and so on, and the motivation and the means, car bombs and now individuals, suicide bombs, it changes constantly.
India's stand is very clear, Mr. Bucknell. India's stand is very clear. India don't want to fight against Pakistan. India want to fight against terrorism. So world community should come forward. The most powerful country like US, UK, France, which has faced all those terrorist attacks. So that's why I'm asking this question to you.
But I absolutely.
Very clear stance should come out. Very clear stance should come out that yes, we are with India.
Absolutely, we are with India. But I'm not going to tell you today how and what we're doing, because if I did, I would be helping the terrorists, and I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
We have condemned the attacks that have happened recently in Kashmir.
And different forum, you have already condemned, the US already condemned, UK already condemned, France condemned, Russia condemned. So that is not the solution. You should support India to fight against terrorism.
And we are.
So there is no absolutely clear stand on that part.
Absolutely, we are. And we are supporting India.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say more because I don't want to help the terrorists.
Odisha has a tremendous tourist places.
Yes.
Do you think that your support, Odisha can attract more and more tourists from UK? What will be your initiative on that part?
Well, first of all, I have to say the word cricket when you say that. Okay. Because in January, I think it's the 18th of January, if I've got the date right, 19th of January, I'm sorry I got the date wrong. So on the 19th of January there will be the second of the one-day internationals in Barbati Stadium. I very much hope I can come and watch.
Would you like to come to Barbati to watch the match?
I'd love to come and watch. Unfortunately, there's also
you like to watch the match of heroic performance of Virat Kohli or Root?
Well, I hope that Joe Root will be triumphant, of course, but it won't necessarily be Joe Root. It may be Ben Stokes, it might be Moeen Ali, it might be Alex Hales, I don't know. We have a fantastic batting team at the moment. Well,
you remember that heroic performance of Indian team while Saurav Ganguly was the captain in Lords?
Of course.
India beat England 326.
I have a photograph of the shirt. I visited Eden Gardens last weekend. It was a great occasion. Okay. Two great captains head to head, Nasser Hussain and the Prince of Calcutta. So it was a great occasion. It's good.
You are in Calcutta. Have you ever met Mr. Prince of Kolkata,
I
Sourav Ganguly?
haven't met Sourav Ganguly yet, but I hope to. I visited Eden Gardens. I've seen. It's a great stadium, but there's a serious point in this, in that English cricket fans are actually really important people that you should welcome. I hope, obviously, we'll give as many tickets as possible as you can to them.
Okay.
But they come, they bring colour. They're particularly important, have been particularly important, for example, in Sri Lanka, where after the tsunami of 2006, English cricketers and the English cricket fans provided a lot of support.
You love cricket, Mr. Bucknell. Is there any regret that England never won World Cup 50-50? You won the World Cup of 2020, absolutely.
We've been to enough finals.
Is there any regret?
I'm not the coach
you're
of the England cricket team.
You're a fan of cricket.
I'm a fan
That's
of
why
cricket,
I'm asking.
But we have won a 2020 World Cup.
You are satisfied of that
part?
part?
We have been number one in the Test status.
Okay.
And Test match cricket is still very popular in England.
Okay.
We have a fantastic team.
Okay.
Very busy.
Who is your favourite cricketer in India?
Who's my favourite cricketer in India?
MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli?
Currently, probably a mixture. I think Kohli plays beautifully. He hits the ball along the ground. He scores more fours than sixes, I think, in one day. He looks like a classical batsman. My favourite Indian batsman, well, there's several. I grew up with Sunil Gavaskar, a man who faced some of the most fast, most hostile bowling for the West Indies and always looked as though he was in command. I love what I saw in Lords 6-7 years ago. The Wall of India.
Okay. So would you like to come
Rahul, because of his beautiful, so elegant batting. I personally, being English, David Gower was the batsman. I'm left-hander.
Yeah.
And David Gower was.
Who is best, Root or Virat?
Joe Root, I think, has a better Test record. Virat Kohli has probably a better one-day record, perhaps 2020 record as well. I think they're both. It's good that there are such good players. A generation of batsmen. Williamson amongst the New Zealanders. I'm not sure about Australia. They're going through a slight trough at the
Mr. Bucknell, is it possible for you to do something for rugby?
Rugby in Britain, I think, is in England is the number 2 winter sport after football. But it is a long way behind football. It isn't a popular game. It's a very physical game. And it is played in only a limited number of countries in the world. The great thing about rugby in India is that it's a growing sport. It's still small.
Would it be possible for your sport, on your part?
But it's fantastic that there is rugby being played so enthusiastically by younger people. I saw last weekend in Kolkata the first All India final of the women's rugby, which was won by the women's team from well, they called it Orissa, but from Odisha.
We need some skillful training.
But
would it be possible for your support?
By the girls' team from Orissa was fantastic. They beat a much bigger and looked stronger team from Delhi, but the technique they showed in ball retention.
So you want a good relationship between India and Britain in sports also? Well,
absolutely. Sport breaks down so many barriers, doesn't it?
My last question will be to you. So do you support the cause of permanent membership of India in the UN Security Council?
Personally, it's
be very simple on that part.
Let's put it this way.
Okay.
We are a country. Britain, above all, is a country that believes in the evolution of institutions. You have got to have institutions that represent an effective world governance. We have been, of the 5 current permanent members of the UN Security Council, I think we have been the one that has been most open and has been called for most, if you like, for the debate to begin on reform of the UN Security Council. I just say to you, that is my country. I can't say today it requires other nations to cooperate with us, but we have long been the champion for reform of the UN, and that would include bringing into permanent membership of the UN Security Council nations, and India would.
But personally, you support.
India would clearly be a prime candidate for permanent membership.
So may I have the pleasure of to invite Mr. Bucknell once again to the Barbati Stadium and Odisha and Bhubaneswar.
That would be very kind if I could turn up on the 19th
So
of January with
we'll-
lots of England fans making lots of noise so that we could have a fantastic atmosphere for a fantastic game with lots of runs scored, but we do want a wicket that will give something for the bowlers too.
Okay.
Do you agree?
No, absolutely not that. Thank you very much, Mr. Bucknell. Thank you very much.
Thank
Nice
you very
meeting with
much.
you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
तो ये थे मिस्टर बकनेल जे कि ब्रिटिश डेप्यूटी हाई कमिशनर आम सहित खोला खोली भाव में आलोचना करते टेरोरिज्म ठार आरंभ कर भारत और ब्रिटेन भितर किभली भाव में द्विपाक्षिक संपर्क मजबूत हो पार और यूएन सिक्यूरिटी काउंसिल में भारतर स्थायी सदस्यता प्रसंग को लेकिन से निज स्पष्ट मत रखिंट भारतर स्टाण्ड को से समर्थन करुँच भाव में भारत आतंकवाद विरोध में लड़ाई करुँच विश्व समुदाय भारत को समर्थन देवार बर्तमान समय आवश्यकता रही मत तो आम सहित विस्तृत भाव में खोलाखोली भाव में आलोचना करते।